Check, check, check. You can hear me now, right? Yeah, I can hear you now.
My bad. I was
All
muted.
good. Y'all. Oh, shit. They done fucked around and gave us streaming.
The internet is a motherfucker, man.
He's a motherfucker. How are you doing, sir?
Shit, I'm doing amazing, man. Amazing. As I could be under these circumstances. We in a global pandemic and the police is kneeling on niggas' necks and stuff. So I don't know. But
I feel you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you didn't know, you're tuned into Professional Leisure. We don't know what the show is yet, but we're going to figure it out on the fly. I go by the name of Double-0. The man to my that way is young Jabari, Naledge.
Naledge born, and I got a Martin Vineyard t-shirt on. Don't be mad at me.
Hey, gotta do what you gotta do.
Inkwell.
I fucks with it.
I have my robe on next time.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get it. Just so you know, we kicking this off next time with robes. Every time I'm trying to have a different one. We'll see how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, cheers to the inauguration of whatever the fuck this is gonna be.
So,
what do you have in that red cup right now?
I made like a makeshift old fashioned at the crib. So
wait, why is it makeshift?
What's up?
So why is it makeshift?
It's makeshift because I didn't have any sugar cubes, so I replaced that with honey, and then I had the bitters, but I ain't had no orange slice and none of that. So, and then I still have my my shaker, my situation. You feel me? And it came out decent. So I put instead of an orange slice, I put a little bit of simply lemonade in it.
Yeah.
And so it's makeshift, but it came out decent though. Came out decent actually. Not a lot of lemon, not a lot, a tiny bit, like a very tiny bit, to kind of take the edge off of the bitters and the lemon, and I'm sorry, the bitters and the honey, they kind of counteract each other. And the lemon sweet, and then I had this Basil Hayden here, so figure something out.
Nah, if I fucks with it, I've also recently learned how to make old fashions. I feel like this pandemic time has led to just everybody becoming a fucking homesteader and learning all kinds of extra ass shit.
Blackberries in at the end too, like just on a garnish level, but
see you out here cooking with fire. I'm not I'm not in this space at all. Although I do try to remember the brown sugar and the fucking and everything else. But
anything in a red cup is makeshift though. Anything is in a red cup is makeshift. There's no presentation at all in this. It's like a scientific beaker, you're just trying to figure it out. It's no different than college, you know what I mean? Trying to figure out the best jungle juice or the best whatever. We had Kappa Punch or whatever, figure it out.
I've been trying to with all drinks and with everything, just trying to get a whole lot better at not forgetting that part either. Like whiskey-sized ice cubes, like the big joints, all kinds of shit I didn't even know it really existed. I'm just like, oh, this is what this is for.
You know, I ain't get turned on to that till I start smoking cigars. You know what I'm saying? And when I get real comfortable and it's actually nice outside in Chicago, I'm gonna be outside on the patio, and that's how it's gonna go. I might have a green screen outside on the patio or something like that, and I smoke a cigar, Suge style through the whole joint. But that's when I got turned on to the idea of the Ice Cube being your best friend, and we don't chase fine brown. You know, we don't chase that. Um, it's more circumstantial. You know, I didn't learn none of that on the road though. We took whatever was free. Our rider did get upgraded, but at that time I feel like we were still light drinkers. We was like vodka.
Oh yeah.
We were definitely a vodka, tequila, and maybe throw in a Hennessy type of group. And we were pretty simple. We were like pretty cliche. It was like, all right, give us a fifth. I think we had contingencies. It was like, find us the Belvedere. If you can't find Belvedere, Kettle One. If you can't find Kettle One, Stoli. And then it was like Hennessy and baked hot wings.
Yeah, the baked hot wings was the one. Where did we learn that shit from? I don't even. It's so funny when you start looking at riders, and you're like, why is this shit even on here? Like, what was I thinking when I was just like, man, I just need whole wheat ass bread and
made everything go. Red Bull made everything go. So everything that we drank at that time could be mixed with Red Bull because we needed to be up all night to do the shows and after parties or whatever, and whatever activities that happened even after that. And times we had to drive to the next spot in a van, you know what I'm saying, in the early days. But I think just over time we started figuring out what other people who came into our dressing room wanted, and then as we elevated to like the status, I think Rock the Bells changed it, where I was like, nah, we rap stars, we could like ask for whatever.
Oh yeah, that is. Let me ask you that. When did the shift happen, right? Because we never got to the point where motherfuckers, you know, even on some of our biggest tours, we're still crashing on couches at people's spots if we can. But when did the shift happen for you where you felt like, yo, I'm a rapper now?
Sometimes that was not by choice. I mean, not by promoter design though. Sometimes that was by choice. Sometimes
of course.
Definitely bypass the hotel sometimes. But no, I really do think that two things happened at the same time. One, we started realizing that colleges and universities were going to give us our fee and whatever else we asked for, even if it was as ludicrous as like green M&Ms and stuff like that. But I think the Gym Class Heroes tour, when we saw that they had like specific meals on specific days, we were like, yo, like for real, they get vegetable lasagna on Tuesday and they get like red snapper on Wednesday, and on Thursday they get, you know, turkey burgers, and then on Friday we have a vegan barbecue with stuff that looks like meat but there's no meat, and then Sunday if there's nothing to like, I was like, what? And then Travi had like all these assorted cereals that he wanted but never ate them.
Shouts to Travis McCoy. Shouts to Gym Class Heroes, the whole crew. And always, I just watched Dave for the first time a couple weeks ago. Shouts out to motherfucking Gator, man. Shouts out to Gator.
Fucking playing itself. We need to get Gator on here, actually.
Yo, I mean, no one realizes, because number one, we had way too many remixes for Driving Down the Block, but like we had Tyga fresh off coconut and the pineapple.
Yeah, that was like his first like real tour. He was on the Campus Invasion tour, and then he went out with Gym Class, and he was just fine. And it was during our tour with him that he met.
This is what I'm drinking, by the way. I just want you to know I'm drinking motherfucking boxed wine.
Man.
And I got CrossFit after this.
Crazy. You know, CrossFit, they just can't Reebok just canceled CrossFit because said something interesting on Twitter. He said something about, we're in the midst of Floyd 19 and COVID 19, and folks felt that was culturally insensitive, and so Reebok is discontinuing their relationship with CrossFit after 2020.
But let's get to that. Speaking of
Everybody,
wild little, current topics.
You get canceled. And you get
canceled. You get canceled. Everybody gets canceled. Knowledge born. It's time for the first segment. What is the science? Knowledge born, what's the science? Where we talk about the mathematics of the day, i.e., we talk about what the fuck has been going on in the news. What you got first for us?
One thing that's not happening is that Ben & Jerry's is not getting canceled. They are fully committed to this idea of ending white supremacy. You might want to pull that up so we can see that they have made.
Gonna get there. We getting there. We are cooking with grease. It's right in the beginning. Let me get you right. Oh, let me get you right.
Jerry Maguire.
Yeah. Here we go.
About the reasons in which we need to end white supremacy, and it's almost as though Ben & Jerry's is as woke as a dessert company could ever be.
I mean, what I realized in looking at this statement is this statement on their site is from 2016. So everything they've been doing since then has been all about following through with this.
Being woke since woke was woke. You know what I'm saying? And they say, there is good news. The first step in overcoming systemic racism and injustice is to simply understand and admit there is a problem. It's trying to understand the perspective of others whose experiences are different from our own, to not just listen, but to truly understand those whose struggle for justice is real and not yet complete. They go hard. They have a statement here from William J. Barber, the president of the North Carolina NAACP. Our objective is simple: to ensure justice-loving people act towards justice. With all evidence, we stand together and act from a place of power, love, rather than out of fear and anger. It's cool. They basically saying, like, we're not with the shits.
One of them was out in DC. He was giving out free ice cream. He was at the I don't know if it was Ben or Jerry, but yeah, they were at the protest in front of the White House, just out there, just slanging them free ice creams out there for all the people.
Yeah, I saw a meme. It said no one, and then it said Ben & Jerry. It said, "Why is there no chocolate in your ice cream? You tripping? Do you have bias?"
Man. But you know who is not woke as fuck? These motherfuckers right here.
No, they did the obligatory let's find a kente cloth on Canal Street and figure something out.
Nah, fam, this is what you mean? This is the congratulations to the graduating class of Hampton University 2020.
It's Kente Gate, man. It's fully Kente Gate, and if nothing else, you couldn't even wear this going to see Black Panther. I'm like, what is this? This is terrible. They've been fodder for the memeverse, and I think that maybe they accomplished their goal in realizing that there's no such thing as bad PR, I suppose, but if you just want attention. But in terms of where they fit in the movement, no cigar.
I'm just not really sure what anybody's doing at this point. I mean, I understand that in the end, people want to do something. It's very interesting now. Somebody was saying this the other day, and I felt like it was a real uh,
I
interesting
figure out
statement. Was that
how wearing kente that was made in China. This
I
is
mean, but that's what they selling on. That's what they selling in a lot of these African shops too. So,
oh my
you know
god.
what I'm saying? They got that good that Akon Kente. Um, but yeah, no, someone was saying that like this is the first time, the first half of this year with the pandemic, where white people as a whole have finally been told, or the government is entering their life in the way that it's entered black people's lives in the past. And they just didn't know, they don't know how to deal with it. And so they've been living under this, their idea of oppression for the last couple months. And then all of a sudden, they potentially finally connect with seeing, you know, a police officer abusing his power, since they already feel like they're trapped in their houses and shit like that. And so maybe it's a good thing. I don't know. Maybe it just is.
I mean, you know, it just the fact that it followed up to Trump doing that picture with the Bible upside down in front of the church. It just seems like, you know, there's a bit of a reach, as they would say in battle rap culture. You're reaching.
Man, I love it though, because that fool literally had the Bible. They were like, "Is that your Bible?" He's like, "It's a Bible." Like,
He looks so uninterested. That was my thing. Is like, yo, like he looks so disinterested. He looks like somebody, like an advisor, the diversity and inclusion advisor was like, look, man, we need you to unify people and we need you to do something to make a statement. And he looks like, you know, what were the kids? Huey and Dewey, Huey, Dewey and Louie on DuckTales. Looked like Scrooge told them to go do something, and they were like, all right.
yeah, it looked
Maybe
like he threw the Bible down right after that shit was over. Um, has anything in the quarantine made you go crazy? Like, uh, where you purchased something ridiculous on because of an Instagram ad or because of fucking Amazon that you would have never purchased in normal times?
Um. Wow. What have I purchased that I haven't done much purchasing? You know, the thing is when you got your woman in quarantine with you, and you got your child in quarantine with you, you end up making um impulse buys to get them off your nerves sometimes. So
So what'd you get?
so those things occurred. The most interesting thing though is me and my woman would sit there and we'll buy stuff off Shark Tank. Like when we watch Shark Tank, we'd be like, yo, that product dope. We should buy that. And
You
then,
bought
you know,
some as seen on TV shit.
yeah, gee, I got one of the breathalyzer for the phone. That joint raw.
Oh yeah, yeah. My shorty actually already had that. I should have
It
questioned it, but I let it slide because she already had that shit.
is.
Yeah, no. The most ridiculous thing I bought, you know what's been getting me? These motherfucking Instagram ads. For whatever reason, so first they started trying to sell me electric scooters. So every ad over and over again was just electric scooter, electric scooter, electric scooter, electric scooter. Then it shifted. Now they just trying to sell me rap jewelry. And that shit got me. The motherfuckers they're selling herringbone chains that are not real gold, but it's showing motherfuckers work out in them, and they never turn green, they never change color, they never do anything, and I was just like, cop.
I just bought but this is something I would have bought anyway. It's not ridiculous. I just bought a Negro League jersey. I bought Jackie Robinson's Negro League jersey.
Oh shit,
But like,
Fooch in the chat. What up, Fooch? What up, Cass?
you could see that joint. I can't see it.
Yeah, I got the phone. You know, I'm out here trying to do two things at once.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We getting it right. We getting
Yeah,
it
we'll
together.
have the chat. We'll chat the chat on next week. You'll be able to see the chat like above my head or some shit like that.
Mm.
But yeah, now what were you saying? You bought what?
Negro League jersey. I've been like,
Mm.
making that like, jerseys were the thing like a long time ago, but I'm realizing that I've never let that moment go. I actually loved that moment of like fashion, but not per se to like wear to a club or anything like that, just to like wear around the crib or even like to make a store run. I think it just, I always liked the flannels of the Negro Leagues. And I think there's a lot of like obscure, um, I think it's like a story piece. I mean, I think like everything that you wear can be individualized to a certain degree. Um, so at one point people were just wearing jerseys to match the colorways with do rags and whatnot. But like I'm starting to realize like I've always been a sports head, and like part of the reason why I've always loved sports is just because I could always see myself
Yeah.
within the different professional sports that either I like watched as a shorty or that I like read about in school when they offered me the chance to like pick a book. I always pick somebody like Jackie Robinson or Bob Gibson or whoever, you know what I mean? And so yeah, I wore number 42 in high school. So I was like, yo, I always wanted this jersey. So basically it's just something I'm buying that I probably would have got if I when I was a shorty. You know
Speaking
what
of
I mean?
that sports shit, I know you wanted to touch on this. Our boy, young
Uh,
Mufasa, Kunta Kinte, young Cap.
it's an interesting thing. If for those of you that are out here watching this that are sports heads, I'm sure you've seen that there's nothing else for them to talk about during these debate shows other than things like, um, who's a free agent, who's not, what's collective bargaining doing. We're having imaginary GOAT conversations between LeBron and MJ. But now that the Black Lives Matter movement has been pushed to the forefront of the news cycle overall, not just on Black Twitter, one of the biggest discussions has been about what the NFL should do about Colin Kaepernick. Now, Roger Goodell, the NFL's commissioner, recently put out a statement saying he stands with the Black community. I don't know what that means. I don't know what community he knows other than the large amount of his players that are African American. But in reality, him saying that he should have listened to players earlier, to me, is
Sound like
code
some
for
bullshit. Sound like some bullshit.
Colin, my bad. That's pretty much what the speech was. Colin, my bad. We should have listened to you. You be knowing we wrong. And so there's this discussion that's going on whether the NFL should offer Colin Kaepernick a spot in the NFL. And now he settled with the NFL for his accusation of collusion, saying that all the NFL owners were trying to freeze him out of the league.
Mm-hmm.
Had a great amount of talented enough to remain in the league, right? And so him saying that they hindered his job prospects and his future earnings, he received a settlement. On ESPN, I heard it was rumored to be between 5 and 7 million, which is okay. It's not crazy, but then Nike also gave him an endorsement deal that's undisclosed. But I would imagine that Nike deal is way more. I think he has a lifetime deal with Nike actually. So he's turned himself into an icon for uh, social injustice, and he's made himself an emblem for civil rights in this era. And I think it's fitting that he's now getting his just due because he was speaking about everything that's going on right now. I remember when he first started his protest, I was unsure of his motives, right? Because before that, prior to that, he hadn't been somebody who was quite outspoken like that, and he was kind of somebody whose starting job had been on the line and taken from him, and so it just appeared to come at a weird time that he was so focused
What do
on.
you think they could do now? What's the actual best case scenario? Because I mean, he's only getting older. Sure, he wants to play, I'm sure, but the worst thing almost for him to do is play because if he goes in, he gets in the league and then all of a sudden gets hurt in
Mhm.
the first game or something like that, people are just gonna be like, "Ah, see, you wasn't shit anyway." It's almost better for him to have the potential to play but never actually do it So what would they do to even make things right?
Right. I mean, there's been discussion of like the idea of maybe taking his jersey and putting it in the Hall of Fame as a gesture, kind of immortalizing him in that sense.
Mm.
And see, I mean, think retroactively, the Hall of Fame has a writer's vote, and although it's impossible, virtually impossible, that he would make it in on his merit as a player on the field. Their recognition of what he did off the field may, transcend the game in ways that, that gesture alone would be a big deal, and I don't know if I think for someone who's played sports, you play sports, just being recognized by, the entity, the highest level of professional entity in the sport that you play would be like, yo, like I don't know if he'd be able to turn that down. At the same time, he may just have an itch to play football. But he gonna have to deal with Black Twitter if he step back on that NFL field.
That's
He
what I'm
gonna
saying. Like he puts himself in the crosshairs in a much different way if he actually gets on that bitch and it plays and
he's decidedly a clipboard holder at this state of where he is in his career. I'm not sure if he's a starting quarterback on anybody's team at this point. So, that would give, it's like sometimes what they say, like it's about what have you done for me lately, and kind of I want to remember you how you left. And when he left us, I mean, though he had a couple of bad seasons, he also had a Super Bowl run where a lot of folks felt like, he a couple referee calls to the left or to the right, he wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I think we still have that imagery in our mind. Other than him kneeling, I think that imagery is in our mind of how he kind of changed the game in terms of how we see the Black quarterback, and the Black quarterback being given an opportunity to be this like running option that we now see several other quarterbacks, namely like Lamar Jackson, doing. So I mean, it's an interesting thing. I think Colin is positioned so well to get an NAACP award every single year, but he's on the Mount Rushmore of light skinned guys at this
I
point.
always actually meant to ask you this. Have you ever watched any of those Marcellus Wiley interviews where he's talking about Cat?
I don't think I've seen all of them. I know Marcellus Wiley. Shout outs to that dude. He used to be a rapper, and I remember the homie G wanted me to ghostwrite for him at one point. He's from.
Shouts out to the random ghostwriting.
I never did it because it just never happened. It never happened. It was when he was young.
What was that one joint that you did? Didn't you ghostwrite for some?
J.R. Redmond, he played for the New England Patriots. Yeah, he was. I wish I could see the chat. I don't even remember what position he played. J.R. Redmond, though. That's when we were in Carson, California, chilling in Carson, California, making music.
Yeah, most people don't know as much as I've become an adopted son of Chicago, obviously. Kids in the Hall really starts in the back of a bodega in Northside Long Beach.
DJ Pro.
Shouts to the homie DJ Pro. I just talked to him the other day. He's having a hilarious time. Yeah, you wouldn't really playing outside if you weren't in LA during the early jerk movement DJ sets, or not even jerk, before jerking and before clown dancing, right before clown dancing when everybody was just doing stripper dances.
LA was a wild place, man.
Shouts out to those in LA who know. Shouts out to those weird ass right track male strip club commercials that used to come on in LA. They was wild.
Go to Spider Room, used to hang out there, and then we used to go to Star Shoes. We used to go to Star Shoes.
Oh yeah, Star Shoes when Star Shoes was basically a Stones Throw night.
Yeah.
Stone's Throw used to have it when Med and Egon was DJing. Amazing times, amazing, very, very fun, weird times in LA. Although I know you don't spend too much time there, but I do think it'll be so interesting to see what happens after all of this because such small spots like that created this very ill vibe, like they could be done. And
Yeah.
it's just like, what are you gonna do now? Is everybody just gonna have a Zoom fucking chat room for the homies and that's it?
You know, and culture, particularly music, you know, how the best work is made is through kind of energy coming from spaces. And so, I don't know. I think we're gonna. I definitely see innovation happening, and I'm preaching to the choir in this regard. I know you know how that's gonna go, but I also think we're reaching this point where there's gonna be a newer generation that sees innovation as being inside, where what we're calling the new normal is just going to be their normal, and the point in which they get on, or at the point in which they gain visibility, is going to be from this time. And so, folks who are used to the old normal, I see so many, we in Chicago, we have such terrible grammar skills when it comes to Instagram, but when outside open back up, it might not open back up the same. I'm just telling you, it may not.
What do
It
you
may
think
not.
is for real dead? What do you think is like? What do you think doesn't make it past 2020? Like some shit to motherfucker. I've already got one. I think
I'm
it's
I'm hoping it ain't this, but it could be the strip club.
oh. All right, hold that right there, because I'm about to bring our boy in. So I gotta bring young Joe Scudda in. But yeah, so you think the strip club, huh?
It's gonna be
Hold on,
affected, like major.
let me get y'all right. I gotta get both of y'all right.
The
Make sure it's
rinky dink
that
club it might be a wrap. The gentleman's club might be alright.
My guys,
What it do?
what up, what up?
is
Yeah,
that
I
seriously
gotta
a
get y'all right.
bar?
I'm gonna get you both right. Yeah, we gotta get up in here. Give me a second. Cause we cooking with grease. Cause this how it goes when you doing it the first time.
I have
All right,
what
hold
is
on.
happening.
Yeah, it's motherfucking happening for sure. Give me a second.
Oh,
Okay,
your
we gonna
beard.
get both of y'all in this bitch. And then we gonna shrink this. And then we gonna shrink this. And boom, motherfuckers is
Oh, shit,
here.
we on the big screen. I see it. I
Yeah.
see it.
How are you doing, young Joseph?
I'm good.
I just first question, and I'm sure you get this often, but how has your life changed and been since your role on Euphoria as Fez?
What?
Come on, man. I know you know. Don't try to play. Don't try to act around.
Yo, is
Hold
that
on.
show on Showtime or some shit?
No, that motherfucker was on HBO. Don't. Come on.
I haven't even seen it.
Come
Shit.
on,
Oh
Fez.
my god. Really?
Wow.
I'm saying,
No,
why you acting like, you know what I mean?
did he have a Coogee sweater on?
Yeah.
I mean, he at least had the Coogee on.
He was killing it. His beard was trash though. His beard was super trash. You know what? I think someone did tweet me that, and I had no idea what they were talking about.
I mean, it happens. I mean, you go from first being, last scene riding away on a horse from the Loving It Little Brother video. You know what I'm
To
saying?
Euphoria?
The next time you appear is as Logic's uncle. You know what I'm saying? Giving him all the rap advice that he needs.
Yeah, if you don't like Logic, blame me for it.
And then you end up on fucking Euphoria out here slanging drugs with a little kid.
Killing it.
Hey,
Post rap has been tight.
Oh yeah.
Is it
So
really
I want to.
post rap for real?
Well, we gonna
Is it
get there. We gonna get there. But I wanted to bring this up because this was the first thing that that Knowledge was talking about, and we wanted to bring you in on it. So Knowledge believes that I asked him what things are not going to make it past 2020. What things won't make it into 2021 because of coronavirus. So the first thing he said was strip club.
I don't want it. Let's be clear, I don't want that to be the case. Excuse me. I'm talking about like the rinky dink, hole in the wall joint. I don't know.
It's going down still.
It is.
Have you seen outside lately?
No, we're not in fucking Georgia. We're not in a fucked up ass red ass state.
People don't give a fuck.
They back outside?
Bro, they are back outside, man. No mask, no nada.
Yeah, no,
I gotta work in it. And so
fair.
So like running a bar and a restaurant, you see how many people they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But the bad part is it makes you start to forget that you give a shit. Because you're running around, you got the mask and the gloves on. And then when you're done work, people are still there chilling and partying.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, I really want a fucking beer and just sit down right now. And then I went to the store like before we opened back up last weekend was our last week.
Yeah.
Our first week.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, I haven't left the house, bro.
Right.
Like we've been chilling.
That's real.
And if I do go out to get, some cigarettes or beer or whatever, food, like I'm mask gloved up. And I just noticed that just today, like I went to go get some beer for this, and I just totally walked out the door with no mask, no gloves, no nothing.
Yeah.
Halfway down the street and was like, oh, I'm fucking tripping. Holy shit. But then you get out and you see, you're like, people don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been getting a little bit of back and forth. Like sometimes you'll get the people who obviously really care. What I did early, because I did it as a fashion choice, was start to wear bandanas around my neck just rolled up. That way, just in case, at no point was I ever without a mask, but also for fashion.
Crazy. That's
you're killing two birds with one stone.
Exactly. And so that's how I looked at it because I've been to the Middle East, right? So there are places in this world where people have wearing face covers for a long ass time. So it's not something that we can't figure out. I just had to figure out, how does this work into the lifestyle that makes sense and not, I forgot my keys or I forgot the, if you have a dog, oftentimes you will forget the motherfucking the bag you're supposed to pick up the shit with, but
shit. As long as you don't forget the dog, you're good.
Bring the bag and no dog.
Lori Lightfoot, Chief Lori Mo, as they call her on the internet. People are not leaving the crib. You know what I mean? Here in Chicago, it's actually scary to me though, because as we get to summertime shy, I'm realizing that folks in certain communities are gonna go nuts staying inside, and it's just not gonna happen. And so we're seeing, it started obviously with the George Floyd stuff and all the protests. People are back outside, but
if you don't see a spike, like if you don't see a spike in people getting sick, the doors are gonna blow open for real. Because everybody's gonna be like, "This is bullshit." Because I know plenty of people that think it's bullshit.
But and so, because you live in the South.
Well, yeah, but if all these protests happen and you don't see a spike, then people are going to start looking around that were even on the side of I'm not going out.
Well, to be nerdy, to be the nerdy one in this shit, there, Michael Osterholm, the University of Minnesota, super dope fucking whatever virologist. They were interviewing him and asking him about that. And what he did say is transmission has always been really low outside, right? Like even with most of the transmissions are happening either places like hospital houses where you're there just kicking it basically up under the cover of COVID for hours on end, and your kid is coughing on you or your wife is, and then you get it. And so it could be a case where there could be some combination where not enough people or enough people are wearing masks and there's enough space outside where it doesn't have any crazy outcome. But to the north of you in South Carolina, it's already popping again. So they've had their highest numbers since they've reopened early. So
Well, South Carolina's weird in general. They don't count. They're gonna shouts out to my South Carolina homies, but that's a weird state.
Yeah, I could concur with that. That they're a weird state. I'm not gonna concur with they can all get COVID, but
no, they can't do that. They're definitely on the list of weird things they do. They do a lot of weird shit. They put mustard in barbecue. I don't like that.
Yeah.
You don't want that at all. I have a question for you, Young. Yeah, that's right, Young. How old were you, young Scudderino, when you copped this?
Wow.
Dude, I never had one.
Really?
No, I had
not
a
the one or the two.
Shirt.
No, you had a shirt.
I had a chirp.
Oh, he was out here chirping like you were a construction worker.
I had a chirp, and everyone had that, like Doe, Dunny, Pooh, and I always just had a chirp. I always felt lame as fuck. I never had a sidekick. I never had none of that shit, bro. I was like, damn.
You was stuck, G.
I was out here losing, bro, just chirping motherfuckers.
It's so ridiculous when you think that motherfuckers invented the cell phone to then say, you know what else would be really dope? A walkie-talkie to talk to my friends on cell phone out loud as fuck.
Hey,
no, that shit used to irritate the shit out of me, and I had one. But people would be in line at the store, like, I guess it's the same as you hearing somebody, like, here's what drives me nuts is people that talk on speakerphone in public. Yeah. I hate that. But if you add a chirp to that,
you did the same exact thing.
Crazy annoying.
I mean, I think it gets to the point of people. I mean, I don't really like FaceTime. I just moved over to having an iPhone, and like I hate FaceTime. And like
I green bubbling the text thread up.
All of that.
Oh man.
I think now that I look back on it, I think the chirp was like very basic intuition of certain folks in the hood wanting to feel like they were with the person that they were talking to. So it was less like, it felt a little more personal when you chirp somebody. Because every time I saw somebody chirp, it was a very public conversation. It was like walking down the street, like, Joe, what you on? What you on? Oh man, I'm just walking down the street. I'm gonna go to the store, man. What you want, man? You know, man.
Drug dealers took that phone.
Yeah.
See, the chirp was like, if you
the chirp turned into the drug dealer phone.
I'm around the corner. What's up?
What's up?
And like,
speaking of which, I think Naledge, that is the perfect time for our other segment known as the prayer hands emoji. And this is what happens, Joe Scudder. We say RIP to trends, random shit, and bullshit from the past or from current times. And Naledge and I decided, since we're talking about chirps and shit, to say RIP to motherfuckers rocking cell phones on their hips.
Oh, man. People still do that?
No, but think about it. This was literally just you wore a belt and you put a whole ass cell phone on your hip.
One of these shorties might bring that back. It might come back so they can
You'd
show
have to do. Can you imagine what it would be like? And you knew you would fly if you had the joint that clicked, so it could turn horizontal
And they always
turn
tuck their
vertical.
shirt. They always tuck their shirt like on the other side of the phone.
outer box and all of that. You'd be like, yeah, like, you know.
Can you imagine putting like a iPhone 11 like Pro on your waist right now?
I mean, but you know what's crazier? That we wear tighter jeans and we put that bitch in our pockets like it's cool, like it's normal.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
The homie DJ Kerosene said, "R.I.B. to you and your 2XL velour sweatshirt."
Yeah, that RIP to that too.
And that was the craziest shit. Is it was
yeah,
bigger.
but hold up, Kerosene still wears that, so fuck him. I can pull up a picture right now.
The wildest shit though is we really wore motherfucking double XL, triple XL shit, and then had the nerve to not only tuck shit into the cell phone thing, you were tucking shit into the back of your Jordans, the tongue of your Timbs, sometimes your socks, depending on how old you were.
Yo,
we
you
were just
remember
big
that
balloon ass animals.
Yo, the jeans and the socks was nuts, bro.
Yeah, with matching the headband joint.
That was nuts, man.
Oh man.
What else was nuts?
I was watching that Ludacris and
two-tone do-rags.
Two-tone do-rags. But that could for sure come back because you could make you could make a satin, like a super fine version of it, and I guarantee you
Virgil. ASAP Ferg does that right now.
Yeah,
it's back
exactly. But I was watching the verses with Ludacris and Nelly. Nelly got destroyed. And reminded that there was really a time when motherfuckers were wearing Band-Aids under their eye.
You know I didn't watch that?
You should have, because you would have realized that Ludacris might be the greatest rapper on earth that is not considered in the top 10.
I tried, dude. I clicked on it.
Oh, you clicked on the first one or the...
Whatever battle I clicked on.
Yeah, and because he got fucked up because apparently there were storms in St. Louis.
But the music was playing, and it was one of those like, yeah, I don't really care about this. Holy shit! And I just left.
The wildest
and
shit.
I thought I was hyped the whole week, and I clicked it and I heard a song and was like, I don't care.
You know what though? I watched that battle. I couldn't get through the whole thing. I couldn't stomach the whole thing. But I watched like the like High 97, P. Rosenberg and Ebro, they do like recaps, their own versions, right? And so I was watching that shit and I was like, they came away with like an ill analysis, right? That Ludacris not only has been a part of some of the greatest hip hop moments in history song-wise, but he held his own on all of those songs. Whereas Nelly had a run. But the run and the songs within that run don't necessarily stand the test of time.
No, I don't think Nelly aged well.
But
man, EI is the shit.
But what I also took from it is I would have more fun hanging out with Nelly than Ludacris. Because Nelly was getting it in during them Diamond era days. He made other people platinum for nothing. True. You know what I'm saying? And that era of St. Louis, particularly if you've been to St. Louis and you've been to like, we talked about strip clubs, the Pink Slip, Bottoms Up, that era of the Lou.
I think that's like the one city I've never been to.
Man,
Naledge lived there.
Man,
he lived in St. Louis.
He's God down there. You can't talk bad about him. They'll like have three. Sure. He's like Candyman. If you say his name 3 times, like some goons appear.
Pop up.
Like you say something about Nelly, they be like, man, he motherfucking gave my sister a kidney, bro. Beat your ass, bro.
Like I can see that.
Put my little sister through private school, bro. Beat your ass.
I
It's
wanna,
like, you can't
I
say
wanna,
that.
I wanna ask y'all one thing. Where were y'all? Where were you on the porch when this motherfucking shit came out? Where were y'all at? Where were you? Where was your MySpace page when this dropped?
Oh shit.
Do you remember this shit at all, Naledge?
What? Oh, Michael Jackson Indian joint?
The Indian Thriller, G.
That could come out right now
and smash.
Was this MySpace days?
Oh,
yep.
All day.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? That was definitely the motherfucking MySpace days. Let me get y'all back in this motherfucker.
Fucking MySpace.
Yo, speaking of MySpace, Naledge and I, we're gonna ask everybody on it this. Was there anybody in your top 8 that you were like, yo, this motherfucker is about to be the guy or girl? They're about to be like the next rapper or next singer, next whatever. So dope that I got to put them in my top 8 because that's incredibly important for my MySpace aesthetic.
That's how I used to go. We used to rotate. Sometimes I would have like the same first 3 people, but I would rotate people in and out of the last 5. You know.
What was it? 8?
Yeah.
It was 8, and then they added
like,
12. Then they added another row.
I remember my top always stayed the same. It was like Pootie, Gunny, Leg, and then it would switch. I'm trying to think who was in that. Fuck. Probably Drake.
Yeah, I remember. Yo, so I remember.
We were working like I got a ridiculous. All right, so
I remember Pooh saying that's how like Drake kind of came to the US, was like, nobody's hitting me back, but he was really into Little Brother. And
they did like 2 joints with him off that comeback season.
He came to the compound, or he did that on his own?
Nah, they did it through email. And I remember they did this shit and they were playing it and we were all like, yeah, who's this dude? And they were like, you know, some cat from Canada. I was like, damn, he's pretty dope. So I hit him up. And
he was verses at the time.
Huh?
He was paying for verses at that time. Not to put
sure.
He was paying. That shit crazy.
So it's one of those, like, you know, if your homie says something, you're like, oh, let me check him out. So I check him out, and then he's following me or whatever it was on MySpace. So I hit him up. I was like, I heard the shit you did with Pooh and them. Like, that was dope. And I remember one time I was in Atlanta, and they were just playing one of the joints in a sneaker store or some shit. And I called him, and I was like, yo, they're playing your shit down here, bro. And he, like, was geeked.
Yeah.
And thinking back on it, you're like, this is the most weirdest thing ever. But like, no one knew who he was. Mm-hmm. So he's geeked. He was like, yo, I want to do some shit with you. So I was like, all right. So he emails me 3 beats. And I get the beats. And I want to say one of them was like a Dilla joint or some shit. And he was like, let's just do a song over this.
Remake joint.
Right. And I was like, all right, yeah, word up. I was like, I'm going to hit you back. But we went on tour. We went on tour for like a month, right? And by the time I got back off tour, So Far Gone had dropped.
Out of there.
It's like, yeah, no number, like new number, all that shit. I was like, damn, I fucked that up.
Yo, he had put us on his blog, you know, about like some of his favorite groups that he was listening to or checking out. And, you know, interestingly enough, I remember knowing Drake was finna be on. And this is gonna sound terrible, but like every girl's car that I got in on tour
Right. Right.
playing break. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, what? And this sounds terrible, but in this era that, like, you know, I was like so unsafe in hopping in people's cars. But
Invisible condoms.
Yeah, man. On tour, bro.
I used to get in people's cars and I used to want to see what they were playing, particularly. And you all know this. This is actually a real statement. Women drive sales. They drive the culture. So when I would be in a girl's car, I would listen. I wouldn't even try to dictate what they played. I would want to hear what they were playing. But there was a good run of like 7 or 8 cities in a row, not in Canada, where they were playing Drake.
A girl was running the sneaker shop in Atlanta.
And I was like, what is this? And they're like, Drake, he's no thing. He's on Degrassi. Woo, woo, wop. I'm like, what?
Yeah, he went from 0 to out of here real quick.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I remember arguing with somebody. He was on tour with one of our proteges, Tim William. They were on the T Wayne tour, and it was Gym Class Heroes, because Gym Class Heroes snatched Tim William from us when we were on tour with them, and then they went on tour with T-Pain and Drake and, well, Young Money. And I remember arguing with somebody that's A&R, and I was like, man, there's no way in hell that Wayne is gonna let somebody who's that dope of a writer be bigger than him. Because it was like because at the same time I think he had who was the other dude? It was Jay Mills.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like I want to say, so Jay Mills and Drake are basically writing or understudies, whatever they were. We don't know what was happening in there.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, there's no way this dude is gonna let him get any bigger, right? Like, and yeah, he just somehow circumvented it. He had
that paperwork is everything. I think certain people, I remember hearing Kanye say, and you were there when he said this. He said, I hope John Legend gets bigger than me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You were there when we heard him say that. And so I think Wayne figured out, particularly because he got, you know, for lack of better terms, he was son through baby. I think he was like, man, I'm going to reinvent that side and re-engineer it on the side of the business game and realize that this cat has a different demographic. He might have similar content, but he can reach a demographic that maybe I can't reach, or maybe me sitting alongside of him, you know, and it's reciprocal. I think Drake has shown love consistently within verses to Wayne. So, you know what I'm saying? I think it worked in favor in that regard.
Is there anyone that has an artist that has had a label that put other artists out that has had anybody bigger than like
Nicki and Drake?
Nicki and Drake.
Nicki and Drake.
Yeah. It's literally, there is.
He technically Tiger too. Not bigger than him, but like put people out with the
if you're gonna
not even
argue,
bigger, just say like the artist that he signed, like they really went.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're gonna argue the best
the
artist run label in terms of proteges, Young Money has to be it. I mean, you know, obviously Cole is in the space with Dreamville and TDE, but TDE's not artist run. You got Ross with Maybach, and so it's like kind of, but no. He literally created the biggest superstars, male and female, of the last decade.
Easy.
Yeah.
Right?
There's no arguing that.
You know what, though? I think Wayne has always, and maybe this is because he came from a group. People forget he was in Hot Boys. He's always loved the collective. You
like
know, he's
always maybe coming from a group, it made it easier for him to just be like, yeah, man, y'all
got your style, you got your style.
Yeah.
I a little bit from it. I think he's emulated probably what Juvie did to him when he was in Hobby.
That's the curse, right? If you sign to an artist, you're like, I'm fucked.
Man.
You don't think it, but at the end of it, everyone looks back like, damn, why did I do that?
Because you pop in a sense of popularity. You in all the spaces you're supposed to be.
But
you don't quite have the same level.
Look at 2 Chainz.
Yeah.
2 Chainz had to leave DTP.
Changed his whole name.
Yeah, changed his whole name.
You know what I mean? And built an entirely different persona. I think it was easier for him to do that because Titty Boy never took off. Player Circle kind of took off. So then it was like, all right, well, I can do my mixtape shit. And then he made that 2 Chainz, which was like a whole different persona from Titty Boy, and
yeah, I mean, he had as Titty Boy, what did he have? They had Duffel Bag Boys, and that was
Duffel Bag Boy.
And
that other joint that fucking Fonte was on the hook.
I was about to say that was a jam
record. The joint with that Denon produced.
Yeah, I remember the video shoot for that.
Yeah,
but I cannot remember the name of it.
I think I literally only have the instrumental from like a Denon mixtape somewhere that I just play sometimes, and it never gets to any verses.
He had records. That dude had records. I don't know. He probably still does have records, but he had records, man.
What do you are you over there drinking on that Guinness?
That's what it is.
I feel you. Are you trying to be out here in low caloric content and
I got a long day tomorrow, man. I'll fuck around and drink liquor, and I'm fucked for like 2 days.
Bro. So Scudda, before we move on, I had you before you got on here. I was telling Double-0 this is where I'm at with it. You know what I'm saying?
That's good stuff right there.
And I got put on to this at the Crunkleton.
The what?
The Crunkleton is in Chapel Hill. It's a bar. It's a whiskey bar in Chapel Hill.
Oh, that's some new shit. So I've been away since
your old
2013.
Kind of stomping grounds, right?
Yeah. I haven't. I moved in 2013, so that's dope.
Yeah. It's a straight whiskey. It's like a super duper whiskey bar.
That's good. Whistle Pig is really, really good.
I think I got 4 Roses over here.
That's a solid go-to.
Mm-hmm. Talk to us about your latest stint on MTV Real World.
Oh, fuck you, bro. I was not on that shit.
I thought you said you were on it.
No, they shot it at the bar.
That sounds like you were on it.
They shot it at the bar, but I was never... I didn't sign any forms, nothing. I was like, nah, fam, I'm not on this.
Which real this?
This was like they started
the new one when they brought it back.
They brought it back, but it only streamed through like MTV's Facebook or something like that. Something weird.
I mean, they're doing a lot of now social only programming. I got my homie Domity, man. He's on MTV News and he does most of his programming through social.
That's what they did. And we hired one of the dudes worked for us. He was like a bar backer. I don't even know, dude. I wasn't even there.
Was he getting it in?
I don't know, man. He was just kind of like this weird farmer from North Dakota. I don't even fucking know. It was something. It was just weird. It was odd.
We don't have too much time, and I don't want to waste yours because I apparently have to go to a fucking CrossFit class because I've agreed to this. So it happens, even though I've already 3 glasses of wine in. It'll be all right. Wanted to ask you, what do you miss about rap? Do you have a story that encapsulates what it's like to be a blog famous rapper, having been in a music video? Like, is there anything you miss about that versus your real world and euphoria Hollywood life now?
Probably just the camaraderie of like just hanging out with your homies and doing the shit that you enjoy doing. Like just going on tour, just hanging out every day. You know
What
what I
could
mean?
what happened on tour that could never happen anywhere else? If you got a quick little story
Well,
that you
would
can
happen.
tell.
That
Yeah.
you can, that won't get you put on a hashtag.
Yeah.
We don't want you canceled. We want you to be okay.
God, don't, please God.
We don't want you.
I don't know, dude. As far as like, I'm trying to think, man. Okay, I got a funny story. All right, so this is pre-Kanye. This is pre-Kanye college dropout, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make the first part of it short. He comes to Durham, and this is where they record the joint with he records the joint with Lil Brother.
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward 2 weeks, we go down to Miami for the Billboard Awards. We're in Miami chilling, and he just so happens to be there. So he hits Fonte up, and he's like, "Yo, what y'all doing?" We were just, you know how it is during those things. You're just on the street, wherever.
Yeah.
So he meets us. He walks up. He's solo. Mind you, this is pre. He had just shot the video for Through the Wire, right? And it's me, Fonte, Pooh, and then he's telling us how he's going to perform Through the Wire at the Billboard Awards and show everyone the video for the first time. And let me give you what era this is. The video is on a literal cassette tape, like a VHS tape.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm like, holy shit.
So
we're chilling. He's like, what do you want to do? What are y'all doing tonight? And everybody was like, we going to eat or we going to whatever. He was like, dang. And me and Tay are like, no, we'll stay out. It's whatever. Like, you know me. I'm like,
what you on?
Wow. What's up? So he was like, all right. So we're walking down South Beach or whatever, going to Russell Simmons' party. A Russell Simmons Def Jam party.
What a time.
What a time. It's at Club Bed.
Yeah.
We know it.
Club,
we know it well. Naledge and I know that place well.
Now, mind you, bro, Loving It may have just come out. I don't even know. I put it this way, man. I'm broke as fuck.
He was on Rhapsody the Basement, Love.
I am broke as fuck, bro. I got probably a net worth of $23 in the bank. Like, I am out here stunting in Miami, and I am fucking broke.
Mm-hmm.
We get to the door, dog. Kanye got his rock chain out and everything. He gets to the door. The big ass security guard is like, "You can't come in here." He was like, "Kanye West," and the dude was like, "I don't give a fuck if you're Jay-Z. You're not coming in here," and just stonewalls him at the door, bro. Fam, the funniest shit happens. Nappy Roots walks out of the party.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Yo, you trying to get in?" And Kanye's like, "Nah, I can't get in." So Nappy Roots hands their bands to Kanye. And that's the only way that we got in.
That's crazy.
Was because Nappy Roots got Kanye and us in the building.
Man, fucking shout outs to Groove Change.
That happened to Naledge before, but it was random. You were there, right, when we were in line with like at one of those weird. So I'm sure you've been to one of these. LA, especially a decade ago plus, used to have these like just nondescript random mansion parties.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And there was one famous mansion that a lot of dastardly things have happened at. We will talk about those on different episodes, later dates maybe. But this one was just a regular ass party. And we were in line with Anthony Hamilton, right? And he was just there. And we were probably like 3 or 4 people from the beginning of like the gate. We were just, and he had records out. Like, this was like
so that.
Yeah, it was out, and we were just like, why are you in this line? Like, what the fuck is going on? And he's just like, you know, man, just chilling, just, you know, whatever.
Just hanging out.
So like Naledge did the full alley-oop when like you also trying to make sure somebody remembers you later on, where it's just like, hey, yo, motherfucker, we got Anthony Hamilton right here. You know what I'm saying? You need to get... We didn't get in, but Anthony Hamilton got in. Eventually we got in. But you know.
What? Yo, I saw there's so many stories that we went to oh man, what's Burns, Kenny Burns.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, AB.
So his birthday party in DC at H2O.
Woo.
Right?
Oh.
I am blanking on my man's name because his brother, we were cool with his brother.
Okay.
Half brother or whatever. He was like I don't even want to fuck up what he did, but we knew him and did some business with him.
Man,
so he was like, come through, y'all are on the list. Classic, you're on the list.
You're on the list.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good.
All good. We get there, bro, and I see Slim Charles from motherfucking The Wire walk out the door pissed. And he's so mad. I don't know what he's mad about, but he's just tripping. And you know how they got those gates that like form the line?
Mm-hmm.
He steps over it. Like that's how tall he was. I was like, holy shit, he just stepped over that gate. So we get to the door. This is like a who's who of shit. We get to the door and we're like, yo, little brother, we're in the joint, all that. And the dude was like, y'all ain't on the list. Like, fuck. All right. So hit the homie up. Of course, you know how that goes. You're not getting
nobody's hitting you back.
You're not on the list. You're not on the list.
Somebody walking out.
And here's the funny part, though. This is where we finally got in. But the funny part is, if you've ever heard Little Brother's song, Life After the Party, where Pooh says, now I'm on the list. They say I ain't on the list. Now I'm getting pissed. It is from that because we're literally standing in line and Ed Lover's DJing and plays Loving It.
Oh, man.
And we're literally like, yo, that's all song. And they're like, nah, fam. Yeah, nah. It took us like 45 minutes to get into that bitch, bro.
Yo, you really wanted to get in there because 45 minutes in a line is a long fucking time.
But the bad part, we weren't even in the line. We were at the front.
Oh, and just couldn't get in.
And just was like, dude was not having it. They played a joint. We're like, yo.
Like, yo, that's them. That's
us. Even people in line were like, yo, that's Fonte. That's Pooh. That's them. Yeah. And he finally came out and got us, but I got all types of weird stories.
I'm sure, and we can do this all day. But like I said, I actually got to go do motherfucking CrossFit.
Yo, where you at in New York now?
Nah, I'm currently in and around the outskirts of Los Angeles currently.
I was gonna say, man, that's some real LA shit to be doing CrossFit.
Well, it's just it's trying to figure out a way to keep yourself interested in see, like I said, y'all shit is fully open. You at work, all of that. I've had tours canceled, like nothing is popping. So every day is just kind of like trying to figure this whole sort of thing out. And which is why we out here doing this. But No,
but this is dope. Like I enjoy I enjoy watching people maneuver around like, all right, this is fucked. So let me see what else let me try to do something else. And it's dope to watch people. It's dope to watch people like kill it and like, all right, I like where he's going. But it's also kind of funny to watch people be like, yo, what are you doing right now, fam? You got an OnlyFans page? You are bugging.
You know what though? Naledge and I have been a ton of fans of the whole OnlyFans movement because what we've realized from streaming on the internet to when you think about YouTube, you think of all of that shit. The adult industry has always been ahead of the game. Mm-hmm. And they're always going to be the canary in the coal mine because they have to push on the limits to create. Like, think about if someone were to just come to you as a rapper.
That industry too, though.
Yeah,
Because
someone,
like, you know, inform us on trends that were happening. They would inform us on the ways in which song. I mean, those let's be 100. Them was the girls in the studio.
oh yeah, but if they
Like,
came to you,
Strippers?
Because they have
well, any
time
of them.
to be there.
If they came to you, Joe, and someone came to you and was like, yo, okay, we got something that's kind of like Instagram, but in order for people to listen to your songs or see like behind the scenes content or whatever, they got to pay $5 a month, right? And then if you want to upsell them something, a VIP package, come hang out with Joe Scudda in the studio, oh yeah, you can do that within it, but you have all of their contact information, all the ability to see everybody who's spending money and how over time how much they're spending money, and you can make it at any point. You can just make it exclusive to, you know, you could drop a song and be like, yo, let me get your ID on this. And even though it only goes to 200 people, those people are paying $10 a month to listen to all of the exclusive shit. What does that sound like? That sounds like a win, doesn't it?
It does.
And Leslie,
Yeah, you're right. They're always on the they're on the front of whatever happens.
all of it.
Yeah, it is. It is like you said, Ryan. It's Ryan Leslie's idea, basically, just as Instagram version rather than a text message version. The Superphone joint, which is like a lower amount of fans, but everybody is paying, and everybody then you are allowed to actually make a living doing this, so that we don't have to get on the real world, Joe Scudda, so that the real world doesn't have to be.
I should have never told you that. I don't even know why I told you that.
Yeah,
Because it's
so
well, first of all, I was on the fifth wheel. Remember that, and that's a story for another day.
oh yeah, we gotta have to find out that footage. But Joe, where you at? You outside Atlanta? You in Georgia? Where you at?
Well, I'm in Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
you
was
were in Athens for a while.
I was in Athens for a couple years, and now I'm in Atlanta.
Athens is a fun fucking time.
Athens is
yeah,
a good time.
it's been.
The fun.
I've had. I think Joe and I we've spoken about that as well.
Yeah,
And on that note,
it goes down out there.
shouts out to
Go dogs.
Always.
the white with a capital H women of Athens, Georgia. But we are Kids in the Hall. That man is still Joe Scudda. Don't ever get it confused. I don't even know what your real government name is, and it's gonna stay that way.
It's gonna stay that way.
This is Professional Leisure. Former rappers, current rappers, who knows what. We talk about a bunch of shit. Blog Era is the greatest. And we are out. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, man.
Peace. Yeah, thank you. I for real gotta go.